What's going on, guys? Sean Nalawani, SeanNal.com. Sorry the lighting's a little bit dark here, but in this video today we're talking about one of the biggest challenges natural lifters often face, especially those who want to stay relatively lean as well, which is the fact that when you're wearing a tank top or you're shirtless, you're going to have that nice impressive muscular look, but then once a regular shirt goes on over top, it basically eats you alive and leaves you looking like you don't even lift. Now, obviously that's a bit of an exaggeration, but there's no question that you will tend to look quite a bit different shirtless versus wearing a shirt, because in clothes, most of your muscle definition gets hidden, and if you're maintaining a lean body fat percentage, then you actually won't be that objectively big in the first place, and so clothes can really shrink you down if you don't dress yourself properly or build your physique properly. So in this video, I'm going to give you a few basic tips you can use to look bigger in a shirt and maximize your overall muscularity in clothes. Before I dive into it, if you do enjoy this content, don't forget to hit the subscribe button below to stay updated on all of my future videos, and make sure to click the little bell symbol as well. That way you'll be notified whenever a new video is available. So the first question is, which muscle groups are going to be the most important to develop to really make your upper body look bigger and more muscular in clothes? Now, this is kind of a tough question to answer because every muscle group is ultimately important in bringing your whole physique together. And if you're still a beginner or an intermediate, then you should be training everything equally anyway. But if I had to focus in on a certain area, I'd say that your delts and upper back are probably going to have the biggest overall impact on giving you that wider, more muscular appearance in clothes. The difference between having like flat, narrow delts versus rounder, more pronounced delts is pretty significant in terms of the overall size that it'll give your upper body. So make sure your delt training is dialed in. The most important areas there being the lateral and the posterior heads, because those are the heads that are going to produce that round 3D look. And I did a video on that previously that I'll link in the description box below if you want to check out my top recommended exercises for effective delt training. And then for upper back, things like shrugs, face pulls, deadlifts, or rack pulls, those are all going to hit your upper back nicely as well. And so will rowing exercises as well, if you pull the weight higher up, more toward your chest area rather than down towards your waist. Arms are obviously important too, so we can't exclude those, especially if you're wearing shorter sleeves. And one area that sometimes gets overlooked is the long head of the tricep, which really adds a lot of mass to your upper arm on the back side. And you can specifically focus on the long head by doing overhead tricep extension exercises. And then one final area that also tends to get neglected, but that will make you look decently bigger in a shirt, is having a thicker neck. Now, this is an area I used to train back in my heavier bodybuilding days. I've admittedly been neglecting it in recent years, and it does show. I'm personally not really into the bulkier look anymore, though my neck could still use some work regardless since it is naturally thinner. But yeah, having a thicker neck definitely does make a noticeable difference in clothes. And if I look back at older pictures of myself, then I can really see the difference actually. So maybe that is something that I will add back into my plan soon. But in any case, deadlifts or rack pulls, as well as shrugs, those are going to increase your neck size by training the levator scapula muscles. And then if you really want to hone in on your neck more closely, if it is naturally thin, then you can also train your neck flexors and your neck extensors by laying on a bench and doing neck curls or neck extensions. So that's sort of the muscle building side of it. Every muscle group is important, but those are the main ones that contribute the most when you're wearing a shirt, I would say. Now, aside from that, you also have to pay attention to your actual clothing choices, because this can have a big effect between just looking average versus really showing off your physique nicely. So the first thing is to buy properly fitted clothes, which seems obvious, but it's still something that a lot of guys really miss the boat on. If your shirt is too loose and too baggy, then your muscles are obviously going to be more covered up. And if it's too tight, then it's just not going to look good. So, and as well, if it's too tight, it could actually make you look smaller if you are fairly lean. So you ideally want to land somewhere in the middle, meaning a shirt that's snug and form-fitting, where your muscle definition is visible. It should be hugging your shoulders and arms, but not over the top and excessively tight. And you also want the shirt to be a bit more snug around the waist area as well, rather than just hanging down all loose and baggy, because that's By having it tighter, it's going to give you the appearance of a smaller waist, and that's going to accentuate that V-taper look and make your shoulders look wider. And tighter fitting V-necks are a really good choice for this, by the way. Another thing to pay attention to is the length of your sleeves, because this can really affect how big or how small your arms look. If the sleeve comes down too far and it covers most of your upper arm, then they're gonna look a lot smaller. Whereas a sleeve that cuts off higher up, so maybe like an inch or two below your delts, that's gonna make your arms look a lot bigger, since more of your biceps and triceps are going to be visible. And then if you really want to take this a bit further, you can also look at the color of your shirts. That's because dark colors are technically more slimming. This isn't something I personally worry about. Black is actually my favorite color. It's what I wear most often, but if you do want to fully maximize how big you look, lighter colors, especially white, will technically make you look a bit bigger overall. And then aside from your muscular development and your clothing choices, another big thing to consider is your body fat percentage. So keep in mind that if you're going for that leaner, more aesthetic look by trying to keep your body fat more toward the low teen area, so like around 12% or so, you're probably gonna look more muscular and more impressive with your shirt off or in a tank top, but you're gonna look smaller in clothes since you won't be as big overall. Whereas if you go a little bit higher, maybe closer to 14 or 15%, you'll lose some of that muscle definition, but your physique is gonna look thicker and fuller and you'll look more muscular in clothes. So you really have to find the right balance for yourself depending on your personal preference. And for those guys who really want that bulkier sort of bodybuilder slash powerlifter type of look, going even higher at around 17 or 18% is still acceptable. As long as you're still within a healthy body fat range, which would be anything below about 20% for men. From there, it just comes down to personal preference. So if you do want to look more muscular in clothes, and that's more important to you than looking aesthetic with your shirt off, then increasing your calorie intake slightly and carrying a bit more body fat, more overall water retention, more glycogen, that's gonna fill your physique out more noticeably. And then one final thing to take into consideration as well is your posture. Now, I'm not saying to go over the top with this and develop exaggerated posture and turn into one of those dudes strutting around on the street with imaginary lat syndrome all day, but maintaining proper posture with your chest up, your shoulders back, your head in a neutral position, arms at your sides, that's gonna help to accentuate your appearance as well, in comparison to having closed off posture, with your shoulders hunched forward and your head hanging forward. Not to mention that that's just better for your body anyway. So to quickly sum this up, if you want to maximize your appearance in clothing and look bigger in a shirt, every muscle group is important, but some of the ones that really stand out in a shirt are your delts, upper back, neck, and arms. You also want to wear clothes that are form-fitting but not too tight, slightly shorter sleeves, lighter colors. Don't try to get too lean because you'll lose muscle fullness, which will really come through in clothes, and make sure to maintain proper open posture as well throughout the day. All of these things, along with just having a well-developed physique in general, that's going to accentuate your appearance in clothes and show off your physique as nicely as possible. So I hope this was helpful, guys. If you want to grab my complete step-by-step plan that will show you how to fully optimize your gains and look great both in a shirt and without one, the workouts, nutrition guidelines, recommended supplements, along with one-on-one coaching, then you can grab my complete body transformation blueprint by clicking the little icon at the top of the screen here, or by heading over to btblueprint.com. The link is in the description box. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. The official website is over at seannall.com, and make sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram as well. The links for that are also in the description box. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you again soon.